Okay. Let's jump into it. Welcome everyone to community call number 29, our usual bi-weekly get together live in our Discord and on Twitter. Um it's Summer's getting to be over. We're getting back to shipping as usual. We have a few announcements and updates as every single community call, a new reward type, some UI updates, some news about the guild pins, support updates about mostly Twitter, of course. So stay tuned for all of those answers. As usual, the session is recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, which we'll link in the secret chamber in our Discord, where you can keep track of everything that we're talking about. We're linking useful links, pictures, images, screenshots of our UI of what we're actually talking about during the call. So you don't have to only imagine it, but you can actually see it for yourself or save it for later. And yeah, on our YouTube channel, you can find previous community calls if you feel like you missed something or you'd like more news. Head over there and you can find everything there. So without further ado, we'll start with the product updates. Then we'll go into some community news. Um, and the pins, of course, and then the support questions, and then a little appreciation time, and then closing. So let's start with the product updates, as usual. Um, our, I think this is our new pattern: is that we have a bunch of UI and so like a front end update. So the app that you actually use looks a tiny bit different. Luckily, every 2 weeks we have something that we can update you about. This week we have at least like 4 points. So hold your wigs and your pants, because we're gonna get right into it. The first one, first of all, the team has worked quite hard to find these holes in the system where the experience was wonky and or there were errors at some point that we're going to talk about, and we ended up having a quite decent sized improvement package over here. So the first one is that we got many reports about a client side error through the intercom support that we have on the website. And then again, please use that chat box to report everything so we have analytics and we can have everything in one place. It's much easier to handle. So in the past 2 weeks, we got a lot of these client side errors. And these were caused by the authentication system that we have in the back. So the solution for that was fairly simple. Well, simple as in it can be described in a few words, but it took quite a while. We refactored the system. So the result is that we have a potentially fully, completely eliminated this client side issues. Um, there's still a potential to get a different type of client side error when you're interacting with the guild side, but it's a lot less um, that you can come to. So, yay! Always love reduced error numbers. The next one is about the reward giving and more around the admin experience of using the site to set rewards. So, with Discord, Telegram, Google, and GitHub being the rewards in Guild or the potential rewards in Guild, the flow was to choose a role and then add the reward to an existing role. In the case of POAPs, this was completely different, and you had to create a new role in order to add it as a reward. So we standardized these differences and these two flows. So it's the same for every integration now. And every mentioned reward can be added to either an already existing role or creating a new one for it. So there's much more freedom and unification in the reward structure. So if you guys want to add a reward to an existing role, in the case of Discord and Google as rewards, users can choose more than one role. But in the case of Telegram, GitHub, POAPs, and NFTs, only one, if that makes sense. We can then you'll experience this. You probably actually won't even notice why you're creating new roles and adding new rewards, because it just makes sense. A lot of these upgrades are actually some things that you wouldn't even notice while using the site because it just makes more sense that it's this way now, except for the previous or aside from being like it was previously. So But, since you're here listening to this, you'll know what to look out for and you'll know more than anyone who uses the product. Um, Third UI little update is we made the add reward model. So, like when you are adding a reward, that whole how it looks on your computer, on your phone, we made the whole image of that and buttons and everything more compact. So it shows the chosen rewards name and icon in the header as well. The potential roles that you can choose are much more compact and shown there. It automatically sets the image and the name of the new role as well when you're creating a new one. So it just looks nicer. This again is something that you might not even see if we didn't bring it to your attention, but it's such a good preparation for what we're planning to have, which is an gazillion amount of roles, as it becomes more and more valuable to set not only larger membership roles, but smaller, hidden slash not visible identifying roles where you use those natively for the admins and the community managers to see who's in the community instead of having like public roles that represent membership. So as we move forward to supporting more and more communities on their journey to do this, it's imminent that we prepare the UI for this way as well so that we can spread across way more roles than we initially prepared Guild for. So that's actually why, a part of the reason why we do this, these improvements to make it more compact so it's more visible, easier to read, easier to make sense for everyone that is managing more than 10 roles on Guild. Okay, next UI update. When the admins are choosing a new Discord server, a Google Doc, or a GitHub repo as a reward to gate, from the list, it's going to be showing that it's already a reward in your guild somewhere. This is important because a reward can only be given once in a guild, um, if that makes sense. And this upgrade allows us to avoid unexpected errors because admins who are trying to add and accidentally gate a reward into several guilds uh, is not going to happen anymore. So let's say you have a Discord server, you can only have one guild for it because the idea is that within that guild you can set up so many different parallel systems even interacting with different platforms, roles that mean different things in the server, roles that actually are super parallel to each other. Maybe they don't even interact. Maybe the same users don't even see the same roles, that it doesn't make sense that you create two guilds for the same server. So with this improvement, now you won't even be able to do that, and there's not going to be any errors around this. So it's much more straightforward for everyone how this works. And the last UI update here is so when you're deleting a role, changing it, or revoking rewards from it, there's a pop up that comes that says keep access because you can choose to leave the access for members even though you're changing the rewards and revoking the rewards. This showed up every single time you did this action. And now it will only show up if it can actually be done. So in the case of having like NFTs or POAPs as rewards, it won't appear anymore since or in the case of pins, for example, because members have already minted these on chain and these aren't revocable. So there's no way of us actually taking the access away anyway, or like the reward itself away anyway. So in the case of Discord roles though, they can still keep the roles that keep the access even though you changed the reward and they might not be eligible for it. If you choose so, you can do this still. But in the case of on-chain assets, this makes sense to not have this pop up for you. Moving on from the UI. Um, Last time, I think maybe Community Call 28 or 27, we announced that we have like a full ready integration with Safe. Um, you know, um, the multi-signature wallet. And we have explained how users of Safe have to open Guild in the Safe app and through then you can then use it as to authenticate yourself with that wallet. And now it's much simpler because Safe has added Guild as an app to its dashboard. So this means that Safe users won't have to add Guild manually anymore, making it much more of a user-friendly experience, much smoother. It's nice. So thank you, Safe team, from over here again as well. One step at a time. Moving on. Next next product update. We have again expanded our wallet activity requirements. So now we have this community event going on right now, actually, at this moment as well, is the Build a Guild, where we ask you to create guilds and requirement mixes to identify like OG crypto people, people who have wallets for a long time, had many transactions, and so on. And these types of requirements, like wallet activity, is super essential for that. And there's a new chain added to this requirements type. It's Avalanche. So last week we tweeted out there's three chains we added to this requirement type, and now we have Avalanche to add to this as well. So last week we added um, Scroll, Build on Base, their mainnet, and their testnet. So we're quite stacked with this wallet activity as requirement. This means that we can still Guild is able to check activity title wallet on these chains to accommodate communities who are coming from any of these ecosystems, so they can set up roles that identify who have been around the crypto space for a little bit, who have committed to use their expertise in the space, or have specific transactions, or have specific assets, or have transferred specific assets in a specific time frame. You can go very, very um, precise with this. And now Avalanche mainnet is added to this list. So, yay! Admins can now use this requirement on this chain as well. And now that we're on requirements, notice how we were on rewards initially and now we're on the requirements. We have a completely new requirement added, which has not happened in quite a while. So let's all be happy that we have a new addition to the family of requirements. I think at this point we're around like 30 something integrations on that front, but we haven't prioritized them in a while because we just had so many, and most of the guilds are actually using a very, very little amount of them. But we have very interesting things going on with this partner that we integrated. It's Ethereum Attestation Service, or EAS in short. Ethereum Attestation Service is a public good. It's kind of like a standard for creating, verifying, and revoking on and off chain attestations. What that actually means is that, let's say you meet me in person in New York in a few weeks, and I can attest that we have done this. So it works kind of like a POAP in that scenario. But it can work in many different ways. Essentially, like one of us says one thing about the other, and we mint it on chain. Um, or sorry, no, not on chain, but like we create this attestation about it. It can be used for ticketing, social networks, prediction markets, where you like attest to real world outcomes, even like land registries where you verify, like attest to verified titles and like deeds to a certain property, um, proof of provenance. So like where did something come from, even a physical good or an IP, everything. So essentially, it's it's a it's a big unlock. I think we might be early on this, but at least it's in Guild, so that whenever people start to realize how incredibly useful this EAS system is, Guild will be there to be able to satisfy everyone's requirements. So you can also put it more in the dimension of where this service sits. So there's Ethereum, the layer one, and all the EAS transactions are settled and secured by Ethereum. It's essentially like a layer above Ethereum where these attestations live, and we can register these schemas. There's also pre existing schemas. Um, Yeah. So is that okay? That's enough intro about Ethereum attestation service. We can link them in. We actually let me link them into the secret chamber here. If you want to read up on them, it's a project that has been out for quite a while, but only recently are gaining traction. I know Optimism team is using the Ethereum attestation service for their attestations. I know Base is exploring using them as well. So it's pretty it's pretty useful, and it's going to be even more useful. So now it's a requirement in Guild. Yay! We're expanding the already quite hefty tool set on Guild with to build the identities and like all these questions uh, on on Guild. It's amazing. This is great for people who already use attestation and everyone who will come on through different applications or through attestation service itself. There's two main options to use this as a requirement in Guild. One is to set that the requirement is to be attested by. So this you would use when someone is stating something about you by set parameters. So for example, it looks like only those can join my guild who attest that I am indeed a Web3 OG person. So like that is the requirement. The other version is the requirement is to attest. So this is you would use when you're stating something about another individual. Um, with this, you can create guilds where you say only those can join who I met in real life in New York. So that's the idea, roughly. Go crazy. If you already have, um, like, you know what attestations are, this might be a really happy moment for you. But otherwise, we'll share more about this later, more use cases and everything. And with this, we'll move into our on chain little babies, the pins. There's four new pin guilds. As you know, the like campaign that we led isn't going um, in the same space or like in the same way as it does. So now we're just launching pins with communities that are heavily interested and would like to support them with this. So there's four new ones in the past 2 weeks, which is crazy. The first one is the DAP list. The DAP list has been using Guild for quite a while. Um, and we have been talking with them about the pins before for months, I think, at this point. And their structure for the pins is the rewards is they give an exclusive pin role in their community for everyone who claimed their pin in the Discord. And they gather around other community like core members with these pin role. So essentially, it's like a an extension to the core members. Then the second one is fee. We, by the way, we're also linking all of these communities in here for you in the secret chamber, so you can see and check them out and get inspired and see if you like how they built it up or if you have any um, like comments or how they could use this better, maybe. Um, so yeah, back to fee. They are the second that we pinned in this past 2 weeks. They have like an insane growth from the pin campaign that they did themselves. And they have over 5,000 new members in their community since they launched. And their strategy was quite unique. First, they shared the pin launch announcement among the team because they wanted to have the core contributors with the lowest rank of pins, which is an interesting approach, in my opinion, but love to see it. Love the versatility. Um, and then they really focused on how they announced this further to the community because the NFT metadata that is the rank that the all pins have. So like how manyth person are you who claims the pin? They use that heavily for future strategies. So that's really really cool that they have incorporated the metadata here. I encourage you if you already have a pin or if you're part of pin communities to ask the community managers there to think about using pin ranks as like extra markers in time that they were set out to be. Um, yeah, so fee is exciting. How they'll use this. I hope more communities will adapt some of these strategies. The third one is alpha drops. They have a nice red. I don't think we ever had a red pin, but if you look at the link here, or if you look at the secret chamber here, Norby, can you please link the things in here that we talk about from the Notion? So when you'll see their pin, it's so crazy that it's like this bright red. Anyway, the strategy here that's interesting, the extra information, is they also utilize payment as a requirement to access subgroups within the community as a form of subscription-based membership. Because Guild, if you guys didn't know, not a lot of communities use it yet, but there's a requirement in Guild that is native payment. So you can set up subscription like or monthly or one timely fees for entry to certain roles. So they also use these in their community. Um, and they already use this, and pins actually became kind of like an extension or an extra level uh, for them in here for this. So it's great that we saw this like upgrade for them almost. Can't wait to see. It's also fairly fresh, so let's see how it goes further. But it's really, really cool so far. They have wonderful strategies that they incorporate, and the pin is like a good extension for that. And then the fourth one is Boldy. They are the newest. We just launched this on Monday. Um, that started the week of the pins. Let's see where this goes. Super exciting, and yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where Boldy takes the pins. So far, so good. Haven't had any complaints, so that's good news. Let's move on to the support section. I know we already had questions about the Twitter API, and we also have some updates about Polygon ID integration. Norby, would you take this part, or should I do it, or
Yeah,
should Hannah do it?
sure. Hi,
Okay.
guys. As you could have heard last week, I took over support as of last week, and I'm the one who is managing this currently. We have two issues going on. The first one is the Twitter API, which most of you are experiencing. We're still working on finding a solution for this. This is caused by Twitter removing the endpoint for checking following requirement, not the requirements, but who follows who within their API. It's quite hard to find a good workaround this change. We would like to ask for your patience. The guys are full steam trying to find a long-term solution for this issue. And the other issue which we were talking about last week and we actually made progress is the Polygon ID, where you guys can experience some error generating proof error messages and couldn't check access error messages. It's a bit deeper issue than we initially thought, and it turned out the issue isn't exclusively or on our side. So we are working with the Polygon team to solve this as fast as possible. So we would also like to ask for a little bit of patience here. Uh, Other than that, we fixed a lot of bugs. For example, the client side last week, and the support side seems pretty cool at the moment. So with that, I'll hand the word back to Reka.
Thank you. Twitter is a nightmare. No new things here. Um, okay, let's jump back into the flow of community news. We have a few things, a few updates. One is we got featured actually just today in the official Mirror newsletter and on our Twitter as well. We made a little appearance on the Lore, I would say podcast, but they actually post like short takes of it. They won't post like the full conversation that we had, but in any case, it's covered in a bigger piece on Mirror. We can link this into the secret chamber as well. Super cute. We're talking about like niche contextual communities, a role of roles, setting up roles to make sense of everyone's interests and how the communities build up. Just the usual, the big guild narrative from a different angle, a different light. Um, yeah. Anywho, continuing the community news. So as I mentioned earlier on this call as well, we have a little competition going on, a little community collaboration. So with Norby's lead, we have a build a guild type competition that we like to make a frequent standard in the community, because it's very important for us that we are not just thinking out of our own minds, but I'm 100% sure that many of you guys have bigger understanding of how to use guild and what requirements to combine to make something cool. And I feel like you're insanely creative and um, like full experts in guild. So we'd like to make sure that we can highlight that. So, what the contest is, for any of you who didn't see the announcement posted last week, is we asked you to create roles to identify OG crypto citizens. We're actually like, for questions, that what we're looking for is what on chain and off chain actions show that someone is or has been around on chain for a while, and what role systems and roles can be set up to automatically identify experienced crypto users from a crowd. I think these kind of well encompass of what we've been looking for, or trying to, because we have like many ideas around this. We've talked about it, we've written about it in like featured descriptions and everywhere. But I'm 100% convinced that you guys are smarter um, in many ways. So we really wanted to see what you can put together. The ask was to set up a new guild and mix and match requirements to answer these questions in any way. And then all guilders, heralds, and wardens can submit uh, or could submit these guilds on Joke Race by actually the time for submissions closed 3 minutes ago. Quite cool. And we'll start a 1 day voting process till tomorrow evening, and we'll vote on the best ones together. There's an interesting setup here, that every guilder has 1 vote, every herald has 2 votes, every warden has 3 votes, and every knight squire has 5 voting points. You're allowed to vote on yourselves as well, no problem with that. But it's easier uh, to almost team up. And then the top 3 guilds that come out, there's obviously have been rules that have been written in the announcement, on the Joke Race, on the contest site, and everywhere. So if you did not, well, keep yourself to the rules, you still might not be, even though you get voted up into a higher position, you still might not get a reward if you've been, you have a disqualifying guild submitted. So the voting is now up for 24 hours. We have a few guilds that have been submitted. Very interesting. I think, yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to see. One that we've already had conversations about is the OG Crypto Pantheon by Bravo Bravo. It's one of the submissions. Bravo Bravo took the approach to heavily utilize wallet activity and transaction checks in the guild, narrowing down individuals who are longtime members of the Web3 space and have already done a large amount of transactions on Ethereum and a few other chains. I think there's also Arbitrum used there, while also incorporating a few things like guild roles as requirements to build more of like a role system in there. The our guilds pin, for example, super cute. Um, yeah, so anything here will be super super, super exciting to see. I know some last minute submissions have already came in. A few more to mention is well, actually, I don't know. Should we talk about them? Do you want to talk about them a little, Norby?
Yeah, sure thing. We got like three pretty good. I mean, they are awesome submissions in the last minutes of the competition. One is crypto OGs have seen some poop by Logonaut. He also uses a lot of wallet activity and CAPTCHA and POAP requirements combined in interesting ways. There is one which is named just OG by Draw Through ETH. He's utilizing a lot of allow list. He's the only one, as I've seen, who uses allow list in his guild. And uniquely gating roles guild roles, which we are happy to see because yeah, it's pretty good. We are doing that too, for example, in our guild. And the last one is it's gonna be hard to pronounce. Gr Sinchongus by him. It's his name too, and he made one of the most robust guilds I've seen in a long time. It's at this point it's probably easier to list the what he didn't use. He used wallet activity, POAPs, contract deployments, wallet activity, Ethereum name service, NFTs, so a lot of things. It's really awesome. I'll post the link for all of the participants in the secret chamber in a minute, and I like to encourage everyone to go and vote and check out these guilds because they are all pretty good and awesome.
Thanks. And also, one more shout out to this person's ENS or sorry, lens handle, Peruvian booby. Amazing. Thanks so much, guys, for the submissions. This is going to be so exciting. If you, again, kind of just reiterating what Norby just said, if you have forgot to enter a submission, no worries. We have a few here. It's I've been using Joke Race for over a year now, and I have to say it's such a good experience to play with the voting. So yeah, maybe we can all collectively right now go there and vote. Everyone here um has a chance and a certain amount of votes, so you can go and do that. Um it's super it's a cute experience to do it together, I think. And it's also we're gonna announce who wins even if you don't see, because I know it's a longer period of time um to wait for the 24 hours to see the results, but we'll definitely let you know. And you can also wait and vote on the last minute to see how people voted. So if you can manipulate the voting that way, you guys can also gang up and vote together. Um, yeah. Anyway, go crazy, go strategize, or just experience Joe Craze. It's a cool Web3 part of tech. It's fun, and we'll do more of these because these are super cute. And thanks, Norby, for the explanations. Moving on for more community news. Indie DAO has shared a pretty detailed guide on how to unlock private content. Uh, how to lock or unlock private content using your Friendtech keys with Guild, which is again similar to what we've had a few months ago by gating a guild with like logging into your LinkedIn account through the Gitcoin passport. And that was also shared by community and is mind blowing. And this is similar to that. So for those of you who don't know what Friendtech is, it started a few weeks ago as a kind of big craze in the social crypto space. It's essentially a marketplace to buy shares of your network, like friendly network. So essentially purchase friends' social tokens that this platform issues for everyone. It's essentially betting on each other's networks. It's kind of crazy. If any of you have been around for that long and been in the crypto space since then, there was another project called BitCloud that was exactly the same concept, except Frentech is on base. Anyway, it's a fun game. I don't know if many people are still doing it. I think it kind of turned towards more explicit content really quickly. But for like 4 days, it was really fun to see crypto Twitter explode with memes about Frentech. And the Frentech keys, though, are composable with the guild model of requirements, roles, and rewards. And with this post that IndieDAO made, they like go into explanations with videos and everything in this thread to show how to do this. So either when creating new guilds or gaining new rewards in your existing ones, you can set your Frentech smart contract as a requirement to grant rewards in a form of access or abilities to members, essentially using the contract query requirement that we have, but with the Frentech keys as the contract. So cool. The internet, we're doing the composability thing, you guys, that everyone talks about. We're getting there. I know it's not sexy yet, but at least it's possible, which is super cool. Moving on, our probably last bit for today is just a little bit of appreciation here. Um, Mostly to currently for Vital, who appreciated himself up from a night into Dune Wizard quite a while ago. And he's using our API to do community related analytical research based on the guild pins, which is really interesting for researching this data that provides insights into engagement levels of pin communities. These analysis can identify trends and optimize community engagement strategies. Um, Also, understanding the relationships between these factors in the communities can inform decision making and improve community management effectiveness, which is sounds so scientific. I know, I'm sorry, but it's such good insights based on essentially one on one on-chain asset and the community's activity around it. We're curious to see what comes out of the end and supporting as much as we can. So also let us know if you need anything else and we'll share the results so you guys can all see and be inspired how like crazy smart some people are here, you know? And going back again to the joke race a tiny bit, I've seen the voting moved a little bit. We already have, I think, cumulatively 23 votes deployed. And just to say, by the way, the operations for this, Norby has exported the allow lists for guilders, heralds, wardens, squires, and everyone from our guild. Just so you know, if you want to set this up yourself, how it works, kind of. So our guild has these roles. We exported the allow list for them. Everyone's addresses who's in. And then in Joke Race, you can upload that as the requirement to, first of all, submission. That was the first. For us, that was an over 50,000 long address list. And then for the voting part, you can set which addresses have how many votes. So because on Guild, you can export addresses by roles or cumulatively, so like adding multiple roles together into one address list. For the voting part, we exported per role, and then we could make the system up where guilders have one, heralds have two, and so on, voting system. So you can fully do this with your own guilds or with your own communities if you're willing to take that. Joke race is essentially making action-based decision making or contests possible. So the allow list making feature in Guild is super useful for this as requirements. But with this combination, essentially, you can have any action be completing into an allow list that then allows you to do things like participate in a decision making, like right now, for example. Super interesting. Web3 tech, guys. Am I right? And yeah, thanks Hannah for the comment here when allow list article. So this is also exciting. Hannah and I have been working on a longer piece about the magic of allow lists and how many things you can combine and do with them. I think we'll be out with it next week. So you guys can see it's essentially explaining all the things that are possible through allow list right now because they're having their renewal time. We've been using them in crypto space since forever, not only in the crypto space, but they have been the initial core part of how any operations worked. If you were allow listed for an airdrop or an NFT mint or whatever, that was kind of like the key of participation. And then that was very boring for us as like kind of the social crypto space evolved. And right now, not only through guild but through explorers. There's a bunch more things that you can do with allow lists. And for example, this joke race is a great example because everyone here is in a shape or form allow listed to participate in that joke race, and you didn't have to do anything special to it, but it's still a private event on a public platform because of allow lists and guilds capability to export the list. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, we'll pull out a piece. Um oh my goodness, Logan out. You can't vote. No, we have to solve this. Oh my goodness, what's go anyway, okay, we'll sort this out. Just as a last thing, if you have any questions, don't hold back. We'll be here for longer. And the POAPs for this call can be minted both on our guild as usual. So it's nicer, it's good UI, we worked on the UX a fair amount. Or the button will be also here in the secret chamber. So you can just do it through here in the Discord. But if you're from Twitter, you can also go to our guild, guildxyz/our guild, and mint it through there. So with that, I think we're done for today. There's no more things to say. Thank you everyone for participation. Thank you, Norby. Thank you, Hannah, for the preps and sending the links and everything. Everyone did great. And hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. And see you guys in less than 2 weeks. And stay tuned for tomorrow. There's 2 cool things coming up. One is a cute announcement on Twitter, and we'll also post it in the Discord. And the other one is the winners of the voting from the joke race. So stay tuned. And thanks for joining. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Jacob, for covering it all. See you guys next week. Bye bye.